Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of 10 Minutes with the Star. I go by the name of Terry and I will be your host for this evening on a very chill Sunday evening, and I know that many of you are probably going to be listening to Cyril's address. I'll have to catch up on that later, but I promise you that we're bringing you nothing but good news here at 10 Minutes with the Star. So stay tuned, because tonight I'm going to be chatting to a young lady all the way from Zimbabwe who goes by the name of Gemma Music. She'll be hopping on to speak to us about her journey as an African artist, and just paying homage to her roots, which is always amazing. We love when our African artists celebrate themselves. And our punctual guest is ready to go live. Music in the background, but we'll be sure to play some of her music later on as we log off.
Hello,
how are you?
How you doing?
I'm very good, thanks. Welcome to 10 Minutes with the Star, babe.
Thanks, ma'am. Nice to meet you.
One day we'll meet in person, but it's nice to meet you virtually.
Yeah, thanks.
It's amazing. So we only have 10 minutes with you. I might push it, I might make it 20. We'll see how it goes, but I want to get as many questions in as possible. We want to showcase you and everything that you're doing. So I'm going to shoot straight away. Awesome. So a lot of the fans who have jumped on this live are actually your fans and they know who you are, but there are some other people from 10 Minutes with the Star who might not know. So can I ask you to give us a quick intro, introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Yes, absolutely. My name is Griffiths and I am a Zimbabwean artist. I grew up in Harare, and I sort of grew up with a lot of Zim dancehall and sort of an Afro-fusion influence. That's the music that I make.
Nice, I love it. We're going to talk a little bit more about your specific genre of music and the fact that you have got this very niche, unique sound. But before we get into that, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Zim. Thank you for your intro. And let's start off with, I know you spoke a bit about your roots now, but where did your love for music actually begin? How did you know that this is something that you'd actually want to pursue?
Yeah, I think, I think my love for music began very young. I grew up in a very musical household. My gran was a concert pianist and my mom played trumpet and guitar and sang a lot. And so it was always encouraged. We always had instruments at home, but also my parents always used to play a lot of music. Would go and watch a lot of live music. I remember the first watched Oliver Mutukudzi with my parents, and would watch a lot of live music in Zim. And the Zim sort of music culture is so strong and so beautiful and vibrant that it's hard not to fall in love with it. And so I really think growing up in Zim, in an artsy sort of household with music, was just an amazing sort of lead in. Yeah.
Okay, nice. I love that. And I know that you, even though you are from Zimbabwe, you've recently released a song titled, is it Kwale?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. So tell us all about that song. When I heard the story behind it, it was really touching because, I mean, you're not compelled to pay homage to anyone, anywhere in the world, any country. And you chose to do it with this song. So please speak to us about this song and why you chose to do it in particular.
Yeah. So I think Kwale needs a bit of a backstory to get to the end of it. But basically, in 2018, I wanted to write a whole bunch of music in immersion and sort of during an experience. And so I packed my life into a Land Rover with a studio and a rooftop tent and all my instruments, and I just started driving up the continent and lived in that car for almost 2 years.
Wow.
Like missioning around Africa and seeing as much as possible and writing and recording. And I had sort of gone inland. I had gone through Kenya and then into Uganda and spent time there. And when I came back to Kwale, which is a place on the coast of Kenya, it gave this overwhelming sense of familiarity, because when you're on the road for shows, everything's always new.
Yes.
And I back to a place that I knew and I recognized and I knew the people and where I was going. And it was just this amazing sense of familiarity and felt like home for a while. And so I started writing this song on the beach in Kwale, and
Wow.
I wrote it about this place I fell in love with.
That's amazing. I know a lot of artists talk about being very vulnerable in order to create very good music of substance. Would you say that you were really vulnerable throughout that entire experience? I mean, you packed up your bags, you're in a vehicle, literally, and like you said, every day, often it's just new experience after new experience. Was a lot of that vulnerable? Was a lot of the experience vulnerable, being vulnerable, or forced you to just be vulnerable and out of your comfort zone? And was that planned?
You know, I I think what it does, and I think you'll find this as well, when you travel, you become very open to meet someone and they say you got to try this place. You go because you have no idea, and you're sort of living off the kindness and the advice of strangers, and so you become very open, and I think that for me is an incredibly enlightening experience, and learning so much from other people, and connecting with people that you might not normally with, when you're just at home and you've got your routine and you've got your friends, got everything sorted. And so I definitely think that that made a big impact on the experiences that I had. And it wasn't planned, but when I am out, when I am traveling, and this is such a natural thing that I love doing anyway, I do find myself having a lot more to talk about and a lot more to tell. And so I did set out to create. I just didn't know what it was going to be.
Okay, I hear you. Would you say that that experience, I know you've spoken quite a bit about the different influences, and would you say that it changed or influenced your sound, going and experiencing different cultures, obviously different places? Did it influence your overall sound, or did you make sure that, I mean, you're going to stay true to yourself and authentic, but yeah, how did the
Yeah,
music
I
shape you?
I definitely think so. I think no, I think what it did, it really helped me hone in on the sound that I've been wanting to create and really focus on that. Um, because I was just out in the middle of the jungle sometimes with a little backpack with a studio in it. I recorded a lot of the sounds, like the background noises and cities and people talking and stuff, and that's all in the music as well. Um, and and the rhythms, I think rhythms are an amazing thing that you can sort of follow, and when you really focus on what's happening there, you can actually tell how people have moved across the country. It's phenomenal.
Wow.
And so yeah, definitely, I would say it definitely influenced me big time. I think you write what you're experiencing at that time, and that's sonical as well, not just lyrical.
Okay. It's amazing that you've documented this entire experience and that it's actually available for people to watch on
Yeah,
YouTube. I don't know how you managed to condense it all into, I think it's just over 10 minutes. I watched it
I
this afternoon.
know. Ugh, I wish it was
I,
forever. I wish it was long.
I wanted an hour. I was like, are we done? I want more. So give us a little more information about how many places you traveled to, how many days you were on the road. Tell us the name of the documentary and yeah, all the information for our viewers, please.
Yes. So the documentary is called A Girl From Harare, and it basically takes you through a little bit about sort of journey and the Zimbabwean music scene and my journey in that, and then the trip and traveling across the continent and writing, and you get to see some incredible views from the windy impenetrable forest in Uganda to the Karimba archipelago in Mozambique. It's just the footage is beautiful, which is all thanks to Mark Nielsen, director and documentary maker, who traveled with me on the entire journey. Um, and it's on YouTube, and it's beautiful. We started the journey in South Africa. We started right at the bottom. I wanted to start in Cape Town, and I
Okay.
wanted to top, but with no sort of time constraint or plan really. Just like, let's just go. And so we did South Africa, and then Mozambique, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Zambia, Malawi, Botswana, Namibia, and Zim. I think that was all. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. Yeah, so we did
Okay.
10 countries, and then the goal was then basically we couldn't get up the East Coast as easily as we had hoped near the top. It started getting a bit tricky. So we came back down and did a big east to west crossing from the East Coast Ocean to the
Wow.
West Coast Ocean. And then the plan was to try drive up West Africa, but obviously COVID-19 hit, and so we had to sort of stop for a while. But I really, really hope to continue that trip now more so than ever when things sort of allow. And that time maybe we'll make this documentary more like episode something, because it's just there's too much to put in. It's amazing.
I wanted to ask you, is there any way that you could maybe take some of the other footage and give us more than one documentary? Or like you said, and I'm happy though that if you're going to be doing it again, it would really be nice to have something to consume that's longer. The 10 minutes was phenomenal. I was glued. Like you said, the visuals are amazing. Your story is amazing. The music's amazing. I just felt at the end of it, I was like, I really would like more.
Me too. I'm like, no. But I also really wanted to keep it bite-sized as well, because the goal with A Girl From Harare, the doci, was to try and tell the entire sort of essence of what I did and what I was trying to do without losing people. Nowadays, how many people actually watch the whole thing? However, I definitely think it deserves a lot more. You need to see all the behind the scenes when you're covered in mud and like, oh my gosh, the car's broken down in the middle of nowhere. How are we gonna get anywhere? And there's so many fun stories. There's so many fun stories. I mean, the one time we got caught in a cyclone in Mozambique, and then our windscreen wipers both fell off, and we are driving in the cyclone, like wiping without the wind. Like, there's hilarious footage where you really need to see this.
I think maybe, okay, I understand you're worried about people's concentration span because people generally not consume, but maybe you can make a series.
Yeah.
Because then you could keep it at 15 minutes each, 10 minutes each, and then, girl, I'm there for it. All I'm saying is whatever you're going to do, I'm there.
Okay, I'll send them to you first.
Send them to me. I'll give you reviews. I'm on it. I'm right there. Gemma, your music is very spiritual. I feel very moved when I listen to it. And I think that's quite intentional from your side. Or maybe it's not. Maybe you're pouring your heart out and it just happens to be real. And that's why it's easy for people to connect with, because it's truth. What do you think your greatest desire is when you're writing and putting out music? For the masses. Or really just...
Wow. You know what? I think it's exactly that. I think I am under the impression and understanding, at least I've seen it with many people, including myself, that there's such a personal relationship with music. Not just music that I make within me, but there is a personal attachment and relationship that every individual has with music that is so unique and different. And that is such a privilege as a writer and a creative to be able to put something in the world that might mean something to me, and that is sort of my heart pouring out in a way, but also to allow that to be a space that other people can interpret and use as they need to. Music can be healing, it can be social commentary, it can be something that reminds you of someone left or passed, or a time or something. And so I guess my goal is always to allow a space for that creative and that art to stir up whatever emotion and to become whatever to become for everyone. And I also know that not every song is for everyone, but for someone. And the other thing I think is often we as creatives are like, oh gosh, do I really need to, should I be saying that, or do people really want to know? And even if it's just one person, if you have something to say, there is someone who needs to hear that. It's that simple. And I think that that's all it is. And it's something that you might not ever see. The artist might never know what that song means to someone. And that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. And I think, sometimes you don't know. I don't think any artist ever really sat down and said, this particular song is going to have this impact, and it's going to do this well. And it's always good when it does. And I think your music really, it speaks to a lot of people, or it's going to, because I did feel a strong level of authenticity and truth coming through. And when it's true, it's difficult. Like you said, it's difficult living in Zimbabwe not to be consumed by the music and the culture. In the same way, it's difficult as a consumer when you're listening to something that's so true and vulnerable. It's very difficult not to appreciate it. So I do appreciate that from your side. Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. What else can we expect from you? I must be honest, I've only just been introduced to you. And often, and I've always said this to my guests, often the first time that I get to meet them is when I'm interviewing them. But I'm glad even then that I'm meeting them. So I've literally just been introduced to your music. What else do you have to offer us? What else do you have in store? Tell us everything.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's actually a really exciting time. So A Girl From Harare, the documentary, actually is the story of the writing of this upcoming project called A Girl From Harare, which is a 9-track EP that I wrote and recorded on the road. And it is going to be coming out in January. I'm so excited. This has been like a long time coming, but yeah, so it's a beautiful, beautiful EP about this and the stories that I experienced and carried with me on this journey. Some of them I experienced, and some of them were people that I had met and that they had told me. And it's a beautiful, beautiful work. I and something that I'm very, very proud of. Yeah, so a lot of music in January. I'm very excited.
Awesome. I can't wait. Do we have an official date yet? And the only reason I'm asking is because we want to get as much traction as possible. If you don't have an official date now, you can always tell us at a later stage. But do you have a rough idea when the album will drop?
It's end of January. If I'm correct off the top of my brain, I think it's the 28th. Yes.
Perfect.
I will
I'm going to diarize that date.
Yeah, and that's coming soon. And there is something coming as well, which is exciting.
Okay, awesome. We love exciting. So we always want new music, and we love when visuals are accompanied. And so I'm going to be following you closely. All of us here from 10 Minutes with the Star obviously are rooting for you. And when you're dropping your next single, or maybe a couple of weeks into the drop of your album, it would be nice to have you back on and just chat about how people are responding to the music. I'm sure a lot of people will then want to actually ask you a bit more about the album. So we'll try and get you back on the platform, because like I said, it is only 10 minutes. It's like your docu. It's not enough time.
But I like the point. Shooting for the stars. Love it. No, definitely. We'll chat in Jan. That'll be brilliant.
Awesome. And we wish you an amazing festive season. All the best with getting that project wrapped up and sorted. And yeah, keep making amazing music. And yeah, I hope things in Zim are great. We just had an address from our president tonight, so I'm not sure what's happening here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm here with you, so none of that matters right now. I'll get the news when I leave this room. But I hope everything there is okay. And yeah, can't wait to meet you in person one day. Have a wonderful Sunday. What are you going to do now?
What, as in this evening?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, tea. I'm gonna have to. I already ate, so tea in bed, and probably Netflix tonight. It's one of those. It's Sunday.
Well, you and me both. I'm gonna take off this. I did this face beat just for you. I'm gonna take this makeup off. I'm gonna have some tea probably as well. Meditate and sleep. So yeah. I'll catch you on the outside.
Thank you
so much.
Have
a wonderful evening, Gemma. Thanks for joining us. Ciao, ciao. Bye. Thank you so much to all the fans for joining. Again, another phenomenal interview with another amazing star. If you don't yet follow her and you're a fan of 10 Minutes with the Star, please follow Gemma. And if you don't yet follow 10 Minutes with the Star and you're a fan of Gemma, please follow us. For me, though, like I said, it's time for tea, it's time for meditation, it's time to get aligned for my goals for this week. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening, and it was really nice hanging out with you. Good night.